The worst part was not that my wife texted her ex. The worst part was that she kissed me goodnight right after doing it. It was a little after 9 on a Thursday night. The house was quiet in that heavy way it gets when every light feels too bright and every small sound feels too loud. I was standing at the kitchen sink, rinsing a glass I did not even remember using. The dishwasher was humming. The refrigerator kicked on behind me. Outside, rain tapped against the back windows like fingers. Mara had been acting tired all evening. She walked into the kitchen wearing one of my old sweatshirt, rubbed her eyes, and said, "I'm exhausted. I think I'm just going to bed." I had believed her. Why would I not? We had been married 6 years. We were not perfect, but I thought we were solid. Boring sometimes, sure. Tired, busy, normal. The kind of marriage where one person went upstairs early and the other cleaned the kitchen without making it a big thing. Before she left, Mara came over and kissed my cheek. "Good night," she said softly. "Don't stay up too late." Then she walked upstairs. Her phone was still on the counter beside mine. Same black case, same cracked corner near the camera. I grabbed the closest one because I thought it was mine. The screen lit up in my hand. At first, my brain did not understand what I was seeing. There was a message thread open. Not a notification, not a preview, the actual thread. At the bottom, in a blue bubble, were 3 words. "I miss us." I stared at the screen. The name at the top was Adrian, my wife's ex. The man she had sworn, over and over, was not part of her life anymore. My hand went cold around the phone. I could hear water dripping from the glass I had left in the sink. One drop, another drop, another. The message had been sent only minutes before. Mara had kissed me goodnight after sending it. I looked toward the hallway. The stairs were dark. The bedroom door was closed. For a second, I thought maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was an old message. Maybe the time was from another day. Maybe my eyes were turning one thing into another because I was tired. But no. It was right there. She had texted her ex, left the phone on the counter, kissed me goodnight, and walked upstairs like nothing had happened. My wife had sent it somewhere inside our house, then kissed me goodnight like she had not just cracked our marriage open. I did not run upstairs. I did not shout her name. I did not throw the phone. I just stood there in my own kitchen, holding proof that my life had split open without making a sound. Adrian had always been the one name Mara hated. Not hated like an ex she had truly moved on from. Hated like a locked door. When we were dating, she told me he had been a mistake. When we got engaged, she told me he was blocked. When we got married, she told me there had been no contact at all. No texts. No calls. No birthdays. No social media. Nothing. Once, about 2 years into our marriage, I asked why he still followed one of her old friends. Mara rolled her eyes so hard it made me feel stupid before she even spoke. "You really think I'd risk our marriage over someone from my past?" That sentence worked on me. For years, it worked. Any time Adrian came up, I became the insecure one, the suspicious one, the husband who needed to trust more. So I learned to stop asking. That night, standing by the sink, I realized trust had not made me calm. It had made me easy to fool. The phone buzzed in my hand. One reply from Adrian. "Me too, more than you know." My stomach dropped so hard I leaned against the counter. There it was. Not confusion, not a joke, not some one-sided message she would explain away. He missed her too. I should have felt angry right away, but I did not. At first, I felt small, like I had walked into a room where everyone else knew the truth except me. I looked at the stairs again. I imagined waking her up. I imagined holding the phone in front of her face. I imagined her sitting up, blinking, pretending she did not understand. Then I imagined her crying. I imagined her saying it was innocent. I imagined her saying I had no right to look. I imagined her deleting everything before I could understand what I had found. So I did the one thing I could think to do. I took a screenshot. My thumb shook so badly it almost missed the button. I sent the screenshot to myself, deleted the sent record from her phone, closed the thread, and placed her phone back exactly where it had been. Then I picked up my actual phone. My heart was beating so hard it felt like someone knocking from inside my ribs. I did not have a plan. I was not thinking about revenge. Not yet. I just wanted to see Adrian's face. That sounds strange, but at that moment I needed to know what kind of man my wife was risking our marriage for. I typed his name into Instagram. A few profiles came up, but I knew him when I saw him. He looked older than the pictures Mara had once shown me by accident years ago. Cleaner. Better dressed. There was a wedding band on his finger in the first photo. I tapped his profile. My thumb stopped moving. Adrian was married. Not recently married either. There were anniversary photos, vacation photos, a dog, a house with white trim, a Christmas tree in a living room that looked like it belonged in a catalog. Then I saw the newest post. It was not from him. He had been tagged. A woman stood in a half-painted nursery with one hand on her belly and the other holding an ultrasound photo. Her name was Tessa. The caption said they were 7 months along. I sat down slowly at the kitchen table. The rain kept tapping at the windows. Tessa had soft blonde hair pulled back with a clip. She had paint on one sleeve. She was smiling in that tired, proud way people smile when they are building a future one tiny piece at a time. Behind her was a crib still in the box. Adrian had commented under it, "Can't wait to meet our little one. Love you both." I looked back at the screenshot on my phone. I miss us. My chest burned. Because now it was not only about me. There was a pregnant woman painting a nursery while her husband was answering late-night messages from my wife. I told myself not to get involved. I told myself I should deal with my own marriage first. But the more I looked at Tessa's photo, the more I saw myself in her. Not because I was pregnant, obviously, not because our lives were the same, but because she was trusting someone who had already left the room in his mind. And nobody had told her. At 9:05 p.m., I opened a new message to her. I stared at the empty box for almost a full minute. Then I sent the screenshot and typed one line. "I'm sorry. I think you deserve to know." After I sent it, I placed my phone on the table like it was hot. I expected silence. Maybe anger. Maybe she would block me. Maybe she would call me crazy. 3 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Her reply was only 6 words. I knew something was wrong. "Check your wife's gym bag." I read it 5 times. Then I looked toward the laundry room. Mara's gym bag was there. It was always there. A gray duffel with a frayed strap, sitting beside the washer like it belonged to our normal life. I did not open it that night. I wanted to. Every part of me wanted to rip it open right there. But Mara was upstairs. The house was too quiet. I needed time to think. So I sat in the kitchen until almost midnight, while my marriage slept above me like a stranger. The next morning, Mara came downstairs smiling. That was the first thing that made me feel sick. She smiled. She walked into the kitchen with messy hair and bare feet, kissed my cheek and said, "Morning." Like she had not texted another man from our bed. Like I had not seen it. Like there was not another wife somewhere holding the same kind of pain. I was making coffee. My hand tightened on the mug, but I kept my face calm. "Morning," I said. She opened the fridge. "I'm going to run errands after breakfast. I need to pick up a few things before my birthday weekend." Her birthday was 11 days away. She had been talking about it for weeks. Not a party, not a dinner. She said she wanted something quiet. A weekend with her sister. "I just need peace," she had told me. "No big plans, no pressure." Now the word peace felt ugly. I watched her pour almond milk into her coffee and hum to herself. I wanted to ask her what she had been doing at 9. I wanted to ask if Adrian missed us too. Instead, I said, "Sounds good." She smiled again. It was so normal that it almost broke me. Around 10, she left. I waited by the front window until her car pulled out of the driveway and disappeared at the end of the street. Then I walked to the laundry room. The gym bag sat on the floor. For a moment, I just looked at it. It was not some dramatic object. It was not a locked safe. It was not hidden behind a wall. It was just a gym bag. I had stepped around it 100 times. I unzipped it. The smell of detergent and rubber hit me first. There were leggings inside, a towel, deodorant, a water bottle, and a pair of sneakers. Under the towel was a small black pouch. My fingers felt numb as I pulled it out. Inside was a second phone. A cheap one. No case. No contacts visible on the lock screen. Beside it was a hotel keycard, a folded receipt, and a small velvet box. At the bottom of the pouch was a birthday card. Not for Mara. For Adrian. I opened it. Her handwriting was careful, soft, the way she wrote when she wanted something to feel beautiful. 11 days. Then we stop hiding. I can't wait to wake up beside you without lying to everyone. I sat on the laundry room floor. My legs just gave up. There are moments in life where your brain tries to protect you by moving slowly. That was one of those moments. I knew what the words meant, but they arrived one at a time. 11 days. Stop hiding. Wake up beside you. Without lying to everyone. This was not a mistake. This was not a lonely text sent during a weak moment. This was a plan. I unfolded the receipt. It was for a cabin rental 2 hours away. The dates matched Mara's birthday weekend. I took pictures of everything, the second phone, the key card, the receipt, the card. Then I messaged Tessa. You were right. A minute later, she replied. I'm sorry, I found things too. Then the messages started coming. Screenshots from Adrian's tablet, receipts from gas stations near our side of town, a florist charge from 3 weeks earlier, a dinner reservation for 2 on a night Mara had told me she was helping her sister move furniture. Tessa had been watching the edges of her marriage crack, but she had never had the middle piece. Now she did. Adrian had told her he had a work retreat on Mara's birthday weekend. Mara had told me she had a sister trip. The cabin receipt proved both lies were the same lie. But there was more. Tessa sent me a screenshot of a message Adrian had written to Mara. After the trip, I'll handle Tessa. I just need to get through the baby shower without drama. I stood in the laundry room holding my phone, and something inside me went still. Not calm. Still. There is a difference. Calm feels peaceful. Still feels like the moment before glass breaks. He was not only cheating on his pregnant wife. He was planning to keep her comfortable until it was easier to leave. Mara had replied to that message. Owen won't fight me. He hates conflict. I can make him think it's mutual. I read that line until the letters blurred. I had spent years trying to be patient, fair, steady. She had turned that into a weakness. She thought I would make it easy for her. That was the moment I stopped wanting an explanation. I did not need one. I already had the truth. Tessa called me that afternoon. When I answered, neither of us spoke right away. I heard her breathe on the other end, slow, shaky breaths. Finally, she said, I'm not going to scream at him. Her voice sounded tired, but there was steel underneath it. I said, me neither. I want proof, she said, clean proof, so he can't turn this on me. I looked at the birthday card on the table. We have it, I said. No, she replied. We have enough to know. I want enough that nobody can pretend they misunderstood. That was when the plan started. Not with rage. Not with some wild idea. With 2 people who had been lied to deciding we were done being the only ones carrying the truth. We agreed on rules. No threats. No violence. No public screaming in a restaurant. No messy scene where Mara and Adrian could cry, twist the story, or act like victims. Only proof. Only timing. Only the truth placed where it could not be hidden. For the next several days, I lived inside the strangest performance of my life. Mara acted normal. So did I. She cooked pasta on Sunday and leaned against the counter while the sauce simmered. You've been quiet, she said. Work stuff, I replied. She came up behind me and wrapped her arms around my waist. I felt her cheek press against my back. A week earlier, that would have comforted me. Now it felt like being hugged by someone wearing my wife's skin. She said, after my birthday weekend, maybe we should plan something for us. I know we've been distant. I stared at the stove. Yeah, I said, maybe. She squeezed me tighter. I wondered if she felt guilty. I wondered if she enjoyed it. I wondered which answer would hurt less. The days moved slowly. Mara kept her gym bag close. She carried it to the car even when she was only going to the grocery store. She checked it when she thought I was outside. Once, I saw her in the laundry room with the second phone in her hand, smiling down at the screen. She looked young in that moment. Excited. Like a woman waiting for a vacation. Not like a wife preparing to destroy two homes. Tessa and I kept sharing information. She had spoken to a lawyer, quietly. I had spoken to one too. I did not drain accounts. I did not do anything stupid. I just moved my paycheck to an account with only my name, copied statements, changed passwords where I was allowed, and made sure I understood what I could and could not do. For the first time in days, I felt like I had both feet on the ground. Mara had always told me I hated conflict. Maybe she was right. But I did not hate truth. 2 days before the cabin trip, Mara made her next mistake. She called her mother while I was in the next room. I was not trying to listen. But she spoke loudly, like she wanted me to hear some parts and not others. "I just hope Owen doesn't make my birthday weird," she said. "He's been so moody lately." I stood in the hallway. "He gets insecure sometimes," she continued. "I don't know, I just want one weekend without walking on eggshells." Walking on eggshells. That almost made me laugh. She was already setting the table. If I confronted her later, she would say I had been unstable for days, cold, suspicious, mean. She would make herself the woman who had tried so hard while I ruined her birthday. So I made one adjustment. I messaged her mother and sister. I kept it simple. "There is a serious issue involving Mara's birthday weekend. I am not ready to discuss it over text, but please do not accept any version of the story until you have seen what I have. I will contact you Saturday evening." Her sister replied first. "Is Mara okay?" I stared at that message for a long time. Then I wrote back. "Physically, yes. But you need to hear the truth from evidence, not from either of us." That was all. No screenshots yet. No drama. Just enough to stop Mara from building the whole story before I entered the room. Saturday came with clear skies. That felt wrong. I wanted thunder. Wind, something loud enough to match the inside of my chest. But the morning was bright and soft. Mara packed a small suitcase in our bedroom. She wore jeans, a cream sweater, and the gold necklace I had bought her for our 4th anniversary. I watched from the doorway. She looked up and gave me a gentle smile. "I know this weekend is a little selfish," she said, "but I really need it." I nodded. "You should take everything you need," I said. She did not hear the edge in it. She zipped the suitcase. Her gym bag was already by the door. Before she left, she kissed me. A real kiss. Or at least it looked real. "Love you," she said. I looked at her face. The face I had trusted. The face I had woken up beside for 6 years. The face that had lied so smoothly I had started doubting my own instincts. "Drive safe," I replied. She paused for half a second. Maybe she expected me to say it back. I did not. She left. I watched her car back out of the driveway. This time, I did not feel confused. I felt sad. There is a strange grief that comes before the ending. The person is still alive. The marriage still exists on paper. Their toothbrush is still beside yours. But something is already dead. Tessa texted me 20 minutes later. "He just left for the retreat." I replied. "Mara just left for the sister trip." A few seconds passed. Then Tessa wrote, "Let's finish it." The cabin was 2 hours away, tucked off a narrow road near a lake. Tessa and I arrived first. We had both called the rental company earlier. The booking was under an alias, but the access code had been saved in the second phone. That part still made my skin crawl. The cabin was pretty. Too pretty. Tall windows, a stone fireplace, a dining table made from dark wood. Someone had left a basket of fake flowers near the entryway. It was the kind of place Mara would have loved. That hurt more than I expected. Tessa walked in slowly behind me. She looked smaller in person than she had in photos, but not weak. She wore a long gray coat over a black dress, and one hand rested on her belly like she was holding herself together from the outside. For a while we did not talk. We set the table. Not with food. With proof. Printed screenshots. The cabin receipt. The hotel keycard. Photos of the second phone. Copies of messages. The birthday card Mara had written to Adrian. The florist receipt. The fake work retreat email. The fake sister trip text. Everything had its place. It looked almost neat. That made it worse. At the center of the table, I placed a small wrapped box. Silver paper. White ribbon. Mara's birthday gift. Inside were her house key, her gym bag keychain, and a printed copy of the text that had started it all. I miss us. Below it, I had written one sentence. Then go miss him somewhere else. Tessa saw it when I packed it. She did not smile. She just nodded once. At 6:40 p.m., we saw headlights through the front window. My mouth went dry. Tessa stood beside me, near the hallway. The car doors shut outside. I heard Mara laugh. Not a nervous laugh. A happy one. Then Adrian said something I could not make out, and Mara laughed again. That sound reached into my chest and twisted. A key code beeped at the door. The lock clicked. The door opened. Mara stepped inside first. She was smiling. Adrian was behind her, carrying a duffel bag and a bottle of wine. For one perfect second, they did not understand. They saw the cabin. They saw the table. They saw the papers. Mara's smile faded. Adrian stopped so fast she bumped into him. Then I stepped out from the hallway. Tessa stepped out beside me. Silence filled the room so completely it felt like pressure. Mara's eyes went to me, then to Tessa, then to the table, then back to me. "Owen," she whispered. Adrian's face had gone pale. "Tessa," he said, but her name came out broken. She did not answer him. Her hand rested on her belly. Mara took one small step back. "What is this?" she asked. Her voice shook, but I could see the machine turning behind her eyes. She was searching for the right role. Confused wife. Victim. Mistaken woman. Angry spouse. Anything that might work. I did not give her room. "Your birthday weekend," I said. She swallowed. Adrian set the wine bottle down on the floor like he had forgotten how hands worked. "Mara," he said quietly, "what did you tell him?" That was the first thing he said. Not sorry. Not are you okay. Not Tessa, please. He asked what story Mara had used. Tessa let out a breath that sounded almost like a laugh, but there was no humor in it. I pointed to the table. Everything is there. Mara looked down. Her eyes moved from page to page. The text. The second phone. The cabin receipt. The birthday card. When she saw the card, her mouth opened slightly. That was when I knew she finally understood. This was not a suspicion. This was not a fight. This was evidence. "Owen, I can explain," she said. I nodded toward the wrapped box. "Open your gift." Her eyes filled with tears at once. That used to work on me, too. A tear from Mara could stop a whole argument. She knew that. I knew that. For years, the moment she cried, I became the cruel one. But that night, her tears landed nowhere. "Please," she whispered. "Open it," I said. Her hands shook as she picked up the box. The ribbons slipped loose. The paper tore softly. She lifted the lid. Inside was her house key, her gym bag keychain, the printed screenshot. "I miss us." Her face changed. Not because she was sad. Because she was caught. She pulled the paper out with 2 fingers like it might burn her. Her eyes dropped to the sentence under the screenshot. "Then go miss him somewhere else." For the first time since I had known her, Mara had no words. Adrian did. "This is insane," he snapped. His voice came back louder now, like volume could save him. "You had no right to set this up." Tessa turned her head toward him slowly. "No right?" she asked. The room went still again. She took one step closer to the table. "You told me you had a work retreat," she said. You kissed my stomach this morning and told your child you'd be back soon. Adrian looked away. That tiny movement said more than any confession. Tessa's voice stayed steady, but her eyes were wet. You were going to leave after the baby shower, she said. Not before, because that would make you look bad. Not after the birth, because that would make you trapped. You chose the neatest time to break my life. Adrian said nothing. Mara looked at me. Owen, it wasn't like that. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because those words were so small compared to what she had done. I picked up the birthday card from the table and read her own line back to her. 11 days, then we stop hiding. Her lips trembled. I placed the card down. That sounds exactly like that. She covered her mouth. I was confused, she said. No, I replied. You were organized. That landed harder than shouting would have. Her eyes dropped. I kept my voice even. You hid a second phone in our laundry room. You booked a cabin under a fake email. You told your family I was unstable before I even knew what you planned to accuse me of. You wrote him a birthday card while letting me think you wanted peace. Mara shook her head. I didn't mean to hurt you. That was never the point, I said. You meant to avoid consequences. Adrian stepped toward Tessa. She stepped back at once. That stopped him. I made a mistake, he said. Tessa looked at the table. A mistake is forgetting milk, she said. This was a calendar. He flinched. The room stayed quiet. Outside, wind moved through the trees. Somewhere near the lake, a loose branch scraped against the side of the cabin. Mara tried again. Owen, please, we can talk at home. I looked at her. Home. The word sounded strange coming from her mouth. You don't live there tonight, I said. Her face went blank. What? I took a folder from the table. I spoke to a lawyer. I packed your clothes and left them at your sister's. Your mother knows enough to not let you lie your way through this. She has not seen all of it yet, but she will if you make that necessary. Her tears stopped. That was the second face change. The first had been fear. This one was anger. You told my family? I told them not to believe a story without proof. That's private, she said. I stared at her. You brought another man into our marriage, planned a secret weekend, and prepared to make me look unstable. You lost private when you started building a public lie. Adrian's phone buzzed. Everyone looked at him. He pulled it out slowly. His face tightened. Tessa, he said. She already knew. I called your parents, she said. His jaw clenched. They're waiting at the house. My sister is there too. I'm not going home alone with you. Quote. His face changed just like Mara's had. Not heartbreak. Calculation. You're making this bigger than it needs to be, he said. Tessa's hand moved over her belly. No, she replied. You made it bigger when you involved our child in your timing. That shut him up. For a few seconds, nobody moved. That was the moment I thought I would feel victory. I did not. I felt grief. Deep, heavy grief. Because even with all the proof in the room, some part of me still wanted Mara to look at me like my wife again. Not like someone losing control of a story. She turned toward me. Her voice softened. Owen, I loved you. I nodded once. I know. That seemed to give her hope. Then I said, That's why this worked for so long. Her face crumpled. I picked up my coat from the chair. There was nothing else to say. The revenge was not the box. It was not the cabin. It was not the look on their faces. The revenge was that I did not beg. I did not ask why I was not enough. I did not let Mara turn my pain into a debate. I let her walk into the life she had planned, only to find the truth waiting at the door. Tessa walked out first. I followed. Behind us, Mara said my name. I stopped on the porch but did not turn around right away. The air outside was cold, clean. It smelled like wet leaves and lake water. Owen, she said again. This time, I looked back. She stood in the doorway, holding the printed screenshot in one hand. For 6 years, I had wondered what I would do if she ever chose Adrian over me. Now I knew. I would choose myself back. She whispered, "It was a mistake." I shook my head. "No, Mara. The mistake was thinking I'd still be standing here after I saw the truth." Then I walked to my car. Tessa drove away first. I watched her taillights disappear down the road, one hand visible on the steering wheel, the other resting on the future she still had to protect. I sat in my car for a minute before starting it. My hands were steady now. That surprised me. I thought I would be shaking, crying, falling apart. Maybe that would come later. But in that moment, I felt empty in a clean way, like a room after all the broken glass had been swept up. The weeks after that were not easy. People like to imagine revenge as the ending. It is not. It is only the moment the lie stops winning. After that, there are lawyers, boxes, quiet mornings, friends who do not know what to say, family members who ask careful questions, nights where you reach for someone who is not there anymore. Mara tried to call me many times. I did not answer most of them. The few times I did, she cried, she apologized. She said Adrian had confused her. She said she had been lonely. She said she never meant for it to go that far. But it had gone that far because she packed a bag. It had gone that far because she wrote the card. It had gone that far because she planned the lie and practiced the exit. Adrian, from what Tessa told me later, tried to move back home like nothing had happened. Tessa did not let him. She stayed with her sister for a while. She had support, real support, the kind nobody can fake with comments under nursery photos. One evening, about a month later, I found Mara's old sweatshirt in the back of the closet. The one she had worn the night she told me she was going to bed early. I held it for a second. I expected the pain to knock me down. It did not. It hurt, but it was simple now. Not the wild, spinning pain of being lied to. Not the sick feeling of wondering if you are crazy. Just the pain of losing something that had already been gone before you knew it. I folded the sweatshirt, placed it in a donation bag, and tied the top. Outside, rain tapped against the window again. The same sound as that night in the kitchen. But this time, the house felt different. Quiet, yes. Empty, yes. But mine. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and looked at my phone. No secret messages. No hidden names. No second life glowing on a screen. For the first time in years, silence did not feel suspicious. It felt honest. And that was when I understood something. Mara had thought my trust made me weak. Adrian had thought Tessa's pregnancy made her trapped. They were both wrong. Because the people who love quietly are not always blind. Sometimes we are just giving the truth one last chance to show itself. And when it does, we do not have to scream. We do not have to chase. We do not have to become cruel. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is place the proof on the table, return the key, and walk out before they get the chance to lie again. Some betrayals do not end when you find the proof. They end when you finally stop asking the person who hurt you to explain why you mattered so little. If this story kept you watching, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Would you have confronted them right away or waited until the cabin?